I'm very fortunate to be joined today by one of the phenomenal members of Atletico Ottawa, Noah Verhoeven. How are you today, my friend?
Doing well. Pleasure to be here. And yeah, everything's good.
Good, excellent, excellent. Now, first and foremost, I have to say I'm a huge fan of the team. I think that the energy around Atletico Ottawa is just so palpable. It's so exciting. It's so infectious. For the home opener, there was the march going down Bank Street as all the supporters heading down to TD Place. Now, how do you find being on the receiving end of all of that love? How do you find being a player for this phenomenal team? What's that experience been like for you so far?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I think coming in this year, being one of the new players to come in, it's one of the first things I've noticed. Even playing it against Atletico last year, coming in for away games, you definitely noticed the fans, and I think it was a big part of the draw to come here. And yeah, being on the right side of the fan base now, I'm happy. With the support, everything's been amazing, and yeah, they play a massive role, and the relationship with the club and the community is very good here.
Yeah. Now, I want to take you back. Where did your passion for what's called soccer here in Canada start? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I think it came through my family. My dad always was involved in soccer, and he played when he was younger and ended up coaching. And I think he got me into it when I was young. He wanted me to push me a little bit to try, and I started when I was younger and just fell in love with it right away.
That's amazing. Now, of course, you've had some experience in this league. You've spent some time with Pacific, which makes sense. I believe you're born in Surrey. And then of course, you used to play for the team that Ottawa will be playing this weekend, York. How
Yeah.
is that going to be? Because you played with York not years ago, but last year, and now you're going to be facing a lot of people who were your teammates from last year. Is that challenging from one aspect? Is it just like another? Is it just work? Is it, are you able to disconnect? How is that from a preparation and a mentality standpoint for you?
Yeah, I definitely have some friends there, and I think every team you play on, you make some good friends. So definitely competing against some friends is a nice thing. But I think yeah, we treat it as another game within the season. It's another step forward, and I think with the group we have, a young talented group, it's another game for us to build and to show what we're building towards, and the next step to what we're trying to achieve here.
Excellent. Now, of course, Canada was involved in the World Cup last year, and with that, there was a lot of increased excitement around the sport as a whole. Are you guys starting to see that even from like an interest level with the Canadian Premier League? Do you find that from last year coming into this year, you're finding that there's more people, that there's more conversations, more excitement around that?
Yeah, definitely. I think you see it in the number of supporters at the games with the attendance, and I think with the fans, whether it's through the media or in person at the games, it's grown a lot over the years. I've been in the league since the start, and I've definitely noticed it. I think a lot of other players have as well.
Mhm.
And something like the World Cup, as big as it was for the national team, that's obviously it brings in a lot of fans, so it's definitely noticed.
Yeah. Now, for yourself, with this being your first year with Atletico, and of course, looking at the success that the team had last year, how has your welcoming been into the team this year? Like, have you been coming in like being welcomed with open arms? And also, I guess a part B to that question. Of course, there was a lot of success with Ottawa last year. Does the team as a whole feel a lot of pressure in terms of replicating that success, or are you feeling that? Again, you realize what the job is and you're able to go to it without any additional pressures.
Yeah, first off, all the guys have welcomed me, and well, all the staff has been really welcoming, and it was a smooth transition. I think coming here, everything's been great. It's my role has been laid out well, and now it's on me as a player to do my job.
Yeah.
Everything's been smooth, and second off, I think this club has a standard. The club has a very high standard of what they want to achieve and what that looks like day to day. And so personally, for me, coming in as a new guy, I think it's my job to find where that standard is, and to kind of join in, because what they did last year was setting the standard, and it showed what it took to get that success, and that's what we're doing this year.
Excellent. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Ottawa has played 3 games so far this season, two of course, in the regular season, and then one with the championship. You featured in all 3 of those games so far.
I
So
have, yeah.
so talk to me about that. I mean, it's a very deep roster. It's a very talented roster. So tell me about the secret sauce that you have, where every week the coach is saying, yeah, he's calling up your number. Like, is that just, obviously there's a lot of hard work that goes into that, but is that to you, is that just the norm that you expect to be playing every single game, or?
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I think that's something I want to have is I want to have that engine and be, at a level where I'm able to play every game and help out whenever I'm needed. I
Mhm.
think we do have a deep squad, and there's a lot of players that are very dynamic and versatile that can play different roles and shift around, and that's part of having our young, energetic group, is that you have players who can play different positions and do a job there. And yeah, the midweek one was nice. It was the first time the club has, it was history, the first time the club has got out of the first round in the Can Champ.
Mhm.
So that was a big game for the club, and it was nice to see the supporters there. But yeah, just for me, it's about being reliable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, team sports is such an interesting thing, right? Because a lot of times when we look at different sports, football comes to mind, American football, whereas you're always, all the praise always seems to go to the quarterback. Whereas I find, as a true fan of this sport, I find that it is an incredible team sport in terms of everybody has a role: the goalie, defense, midfield, forward. If all that plays in unison, chances are you're going to have a strong outcome. From your perspective, do you find that there's a lot more focus on, like, particular positions or even particular personnel on the team? So, for example, one of the things that I want to do with these pieces is give the opportunity for people to get to know the team and understand that there's players other than, like, Ollie Bassett and Malcolm Shaw and things of that nature. Do you find that there's a that people are grasping the fact that it is an overall team sport and everybody plays a contributing part? Or do you feel that there are times where, whether it's your team, other teams, people still have to kind of put their hands up and say, well, we're here too?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think honestly, when people come to the games in person, I think maybe being in person rather than watching on TV or seeing through the media or something, I think in person you see different things than you see online.
Mhm.
So maybe you come to a game in person and you see a player you like, or maybe a position that you think a player is good at, and it's a different experience in total. But I think always the strikers are gonna have the glory. They're the
Yeah.
ones at the end of the day they make the difference. And a player like Ollie scoring goals from midfield is something that he does very well, and that's a big, you know, a big contributor to the success. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the glory will always be there for those guys, but definitely it's as a sport, and for the fan base, I think they do a good job of giving everybody their flowers.
Yeah. Now, your position is an interesting one because, as you mentioned, you played against Atletico Ottawa last year. Now you're fairly new with the club. There are a lot of new fans, which is wonderful, that are kind of catching a glimpse of this lightning that is taking place over at TD Place, and like, hey, I want to check that out. From your perspective, what do you say to somebody who's never been to an Atletico Ottawa game before, who's somewhat on the fence about going? You obviously a brand new player, very talented player. What do you say to those people in terms of to get them out to come down to TD Place, for example, this coming Saturday and check out a game?
Yeah, I think the atmosphere is amazing, and I think whether you enjoy the sport or whether you're new or you've been around it a bit, the atmosphere is amazing. So for me, you can come to the game and just enjoy being with the fans and cheering the team on, whether you're into soccer, like I said, if you're new or if you've been around it. just being there with the atmosphere, it's like nothing else, especially in this league. You know, our fan base has shown what they're capable of.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, I've been following sports my entire life, and not just saying this, but there's something ridiculously special about the Atletico Ottawa supporter. It's on a whole different level, and I think it's just what the city needs. Well, I was part of the contingent marching from the pub to the stadium on for the home opener. I said this is probably one of the most un-Ottawa things I've seen, because love the city, don't get me wrong, but as a
Yeah,
government town, conservative, a little kind of like stuffy at times. Some people would say this is probably one of the most wonderful things, because this is something that I'm used to seeing when I look at football teams or soccer teams in Europe doing. So it
yeah.
was wonderful to have that atmosphere here. So I want to ask, what are some of the things that you like to do, like off of the pitch? So when you're not, because one of the things I'm learning about you wonderful Atletico Ottawa players is you guys always have a little something up your sleeve. Like you guys always have different things, other things going on. You guys are so versatile. It's like you have your other lives or other things that you do, and then you throw on the cape, aka your
Yeah.
kit, and then you jump on the field and you take care of business. So what are some of the other things that you like to do, that you've got yourself involved in when you're not playing?
Yeah, I think most of the times off the pitch, especially with the season now, whenever you get a chance to relax with this busy schedule, then it's definitely, you know, just resting and staying at home. But yeah, I like to be honest, I spend a lot of time with my teammates. So whether we're playing cards, some of the guys play chess, so just little activities like that, or you know, it's always happening with the team. And then if we get a chance for a barbecue or something, anything like that, I'm always there. So I think to be honest, I just kind of go with the flow, and I do whatever the guys are doing. I'm easygoing, so whatever the guys are up to that night, that's usually where I'm at.
I like it. The new guy doesn't want to like rustle any feathers, but don't worry. I'm waiting for the time for you to come and say, okay, guys, tonight, this is what we're doing, but you'll
Yeah.
get there. You'll get there. Uh, no, I want to be respectful of your time. So I want to drift into a little thing I like to call rapid fire. If your
Yeah.
teammates who I've spoken to before have given you a heads up, this is where I ask you some fun questions. Again, emphasis on nothing more than fun. Don't think too hard on
Okay.
these questions. All right.
Yeah.
First of all, what is your favorite movie of all time? And if you can't think of one, I'll accept a top three.
Ocean's 11.
Oh, okay.
Simple.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. Okay. Number two, you mentioned barbecuing. Do you prefer barbecuing on a propane barbecue or charcoal?
Charcoal.
Charcoal. Okay. All right. What is one of your favorite things to do here in Ottawa?
Oh, uh, you know what? To be honest, I'm gonna go with the comedy club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I love comedy shows, so I've found one, and that's it's a good time. That's my thing, comedy club.
Nice. Hopefully you avoid the front row.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Who's going to win the Champions League?
Madrid. I think Madrid is so strong this year, and the only I think City can challenge them, but for me, Madrid
Okay, fair. There's no wrong answer here
very strong.
in rapid fire. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Now one last thing what I want to ask you is would you say is the best advice that you've ever been given as it relates to your football career?
I think the best advice I've been given is to stay mellow and kind of don't let things affect you for whether they're good or bad, and you know, to kind of just don't let the highs get too high, don't let the lows get too low, and you know, just look at everything from, you know, for take everything for what it is. Don't worry about the things you can't control. And I think that's the key to having a, you know, a successful career.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your time today. Wishing you and your teammates the best of luck this coming Saturday against York. We'll be there loud and proud. Very excited for it. It's always great when I get to go to TD Place and check out the best team in the country. So thank you for that. Noah Verhoeven, one of the players of Atletico Ottawa, so kind to lend us some time today to come and talk to us about things football and why he thinks Madrid will win the Champions League. We will agree to disagree on that one. I wish you all the best, my friend. And again, thanks so much for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. And I think they'll win, but I hope they don't.